Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone to today's class. This class is for the first secondary grade in English subject. And it is for the second semester. The lesson is Unit 3, reading from the book Mega goal2. It is prepared by Abdullah Hussein and presented by me, Mazen Al-Harbi. So welcome everyone. Our objectives in today's lesson is that number one, we're going to do reading, and also we're going to read some of those instructions before reading, and then we're going to learn and get recognized with Murphy's Law, and then we'll go to the task of after reading when we introduce some new vocabularies and new phrases that we learn in today's lesson. So let us begin. Warm up. Okay, so now we have a question, so just think about it really carefully and then tell me what you think. So the first situation we have is that imagine that there is a 22 years old guy who has been driving for 5 years, but he has already been involved in 6 car accidents. Okay, so someone is driving for 5 years and he had more than 6 car accidents. So the first question we have, does he simply have bad luck, or are there other factors that might have caused him to have many accidents? So what do you think? Are there any, do you think that he simply have bad luck, or there are actually factors that may have caused him to have so many accidents? I mean, 6 accidents in 5 years is not a very short number. And this is number one. The second question said, have you ever heard of Murphy's Law? Have you ever heard of Murphy's Law? Okay, so let's begin with the first one. I believe from my point of view that we can actually say that it's bad luck. Okay, well, some people they just have bad luck. They just have bad luck. There is nothing much to say about this, and there are actually, and we can include the other factors related to that bad luck. I mean, maybe problems with the car, with the road, with the way he drives. A lot of things we can say that cause those accidents. So I will go for the favor of the bad luck with some factors that need to be taken care of. And for the second question, have you ever heard of Murphy's Law? I believe from if you ask me, no, I haven't heard of this law. But I'm really excited to know what is Murphy's Law. So let's see. So now we're going to read an article. It's about Murphy's Law. It is called Murphy's Law. So let's read the article and try to find all the sentences that tell us what exactly do we mean by Murphy's Law. Okay, so here, as you can see, a picture of a cat, obviously maybe scared or freaking. And on the top, let's say, on the top of that cat is the butter toast. Let's say this is a butter toast. So I believe it's really interesting to know what is Murphy's Law got to do with those kind of pictures. So let's begin. So the first part, you invite your friend over to watch an NBA basketball playoff game on TV. There are plenty of sodas in the refrigerator, and the popcorn is popping, and you are all set to watch the big game. Okay, so this is the scenario now. You're inviting your friends to watch the NBA basketball game, and you have sodas and popcorn, all of them ready. So this is the scenario. Let's see. You turn on the TV set, and all you get are fuzzy images on the screen. So the images, or let's say, weren't clear. You can't see actually the game properly. Okay? So, what do we call this? Is this plain bad luck, or is it Murphy's Law at work? You don't know what Murphy's Law is? Well, Murphy's Law states if anything can go wrong, it might go wrong. So what we understand here, well, this is since this is let's say maybe an NBA game and it's on TV, so the TV can actually be broken or has problem, or because this is the main concern here, they gather because they want to watch a game. So since the TV can be broken or has problem with it, then it might happen. And this is what actually happened when you get all those fuzzy images on the screen. So now we know what is Murphy's Law. It says it states if anything can go wrong, it might go wrong. Let's see the second part. Similar situations occur all the time. So when you are in a hurry to open the door and you try several keys on the key ring, the last remaining key is usually the one that works. Well, this is a situation I get in a lot, yes, of course. So when I try, if I'm in a hurry and I'm looking from my chains of keys, I'm looking for the key, I find out that the last one is the one who actually works. So this is really, I don't know, this is really surprising. Let's continue. When you get in the line or in a line at the supermarket, you'll find that you have chosen the slowest one and it just doesn't move. Is that bad luck or a coincidence? Well, this is also true. If you remember that when you go to supermarket and you back your cart with a lot of things and you're trying to choose the, let's say, the lane which you thought it will be the very the quickest one, just to leave the supermarket early, you find out that it will be the slowest one, and no matter what you do, you'll see that maybe the lane that you thought it was crowded will move quickly than the one you're standing in. So this is really also surprising, let's say, because all of these, I'm sure, happens to a lot of people. So according to a British physicist, Robert Matthews, it is neither one nor the other. So according to this British physicist, he said it's not a bad luck and it's not a coincidence. So if it's not a bad luck or a coincidence, what is it? Let's see and check. So he explains that our selective memories tend to remember the bad episodes more readily than the things that usually work out. Also, the law of probability is more against us than in our favor in many situations. So this physicist said that in our memories, okay, we only remember the bad things, the bad events that happens to us, okay, more than the things that could work for us. For example, we always think of the bad things. Let's say this. I'm afraid to go to this. If I do this, we'll have this, and this is what is meant by bad episode. And also, the law of probabilities is against us. For example, probably that lane will be okay. Probably this one will be faster. Or probably so. The law of probability is usually against us than working in our favor in different situations. Okay, and there is an example. For example, in the supermarket with 5 cashiers, the chances of getting the fastest lane are 20% and 80% for a slower lane. And I totally agree with this. For example, when you are choosing a lane and you thought that, oh, okay, so this lane will be most faster than any other lane, so I'll must go to it, and you find out that it's actually the slowest one. And even drivers know this. When you drive in traffic, you thought, okay, I should change my lane because the other lane will be faster, and you find out that it's actually slower than your lane. So this happens. This actually happens. So Matthews became a popular scientist when he proved that a piece of toast doesn't necessarily fall on the floor on the buttered side. BBC television gathered 300 people to throw pieces of buttered toast up in the air and observe on which side they fell. Half fell on the buttered side and half didn't. So Matthews, the physicist, became popular because he said, well, now we have a piece of toast, a buttered toast, and I'm sure it doesn't necessarily will fall on the floor on the buttered side, the other side that has no butter. So it's a BBC television station actually gathered people, more than 300, and they throw those toasts, and the results were that half of them fell on the butter side and half did not. So now here is the tricky questions for Matthew. It is a known fact that cats always fall on their forelegs. What happens if you tie a piece of buttered toast on a cat's back and drop them from a balcony? Will the cat land on all fours between the forelegs, or will the toast land on the buttered side? I sincerely hope the BBC doesn't try this experiment. So he has a question, Matthews. He says that it's a fact that cats always fall on their forelegs. But if you tie them with a piece of buttered toast on their back and drop them from a balcony, will this cat land on all fours, or the toast land will the toast will land on its butter line? Of course, this is something that we would not like to see, of course. So just remember that you cannot blame Murphy's Law for everything that goes wrong. If the hot water runs out while you're having a shower, it's probably because the hot water heater needs to be fixed. This is absolutely true. And if your car breaks down on the way to a job interview, it's probably because you didn't have the vehicle service or repaired. And if you lose all your files on the computer, it's not that like it's your fault for not doing a backup of your files. Of course, you cannot blame everything on Murphy's Law. You have to do the reasons that can protect you from the bad consequences. So, what do we mean actually by Murphy's Law? Well, Murphy's Law is regarding a cat named after Captain Edward Murphy, Jr. He was an engineer at Edwards Air Force Base in the United States. In 1949, he was working on a machine to measure the heartbeat and breathing of pilots. But something was malfunctioning in the equipment as the result of human error. Murphy blamed the lab technician and said, if there is any way to do it wrong, he will. One person's failure can bring a whole project crashing down. And Murphy's view was that some failure or something negative will typically happen. Murphy's phrase became popular in all areas to explain the failures of everyday things. So the Murphy's actual view or phrase when he said it during this one, which is one person's failure can bring a whole project crashing down, became like a slogan for all the things that fail, for the failures that we face in our daily life. And it became, of course, popular among people. So, again, Murphy's Law. If anything can go wrong, it will. Okay, so what or why we exactly call this Murphy's Law? Because, according to what we just read, Edward A. Murphy was the first person to use it to talk about a situation in his life. So this is why we call it the Murphy's Law. Okay? So now we do have the new vocabularies. We said episode, okay, which means event. On all fours, it means on 4 feet. Back up, it means copy. Malfunctioning, it means not working correctly. Okay, so all of these are the vocabularies, some of the vocabularies that we face in today's reading, and here are their meanings. Okay, so now we reach our last section, which is about after reading. So answer the questions about the reading. Okay, so we do have 4 questions now. We're going to read them and read the answers as well. So the first one said, what does the example of the NBA game illustrate? We read an example on NBA game that a friend is inviting his friends to watch an NBA game. So what does it exactly illustrate? And what does Murphy's Law state? What does it say, Murphy's Law? And according to Robert Matthews, how does the law of probability work against us in the supermarket lane? And number 4, why did Matthews do the buttered bread experiment and what did it show? So let's begin with the first one. What does the example of the NBA game illustrate? It actually illustrates that things seem to go wrong at precisely the wrong time, the unexpected time. And the second one, what does Murphy's Law state? It actually states that if anything can go wrong, it will. And the third one, according to Robert Matthews, how does the law of probability work against us in the supermarket lane? Because actually the chances of getting in the fastest lane are not that high. For example, there are 5 lines, our chance of getting the slower lane is 4 out of 5, or 80%. So this is a really huge percentage. And the last one, what exactly Matthews wanted to show with his buttered experiment, butter toast experiment, he wanted to show that although people think that bad things always happen, things happen according to the law of probability. So, now this is the summary of our lesson. We read the section on before reading, and we read actually the Murphy's Law. This is our article today, and we did an exercise in after reading. So thank you very much for watching. Here are the references of today's lesson. And if you want to watch this lesson again, please visit DoorScates. And here are the means of communication if you do have any questions or inquiries. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Oh